So if you play role-playing games, you've definitely played D&D at some point. But did you know that you can play these kind of games by yourself, completely alone? Now, your first reaction to hearing you can play an RPG solo might be something like this. How would that even work? I know, because that was my reaction when I first heard it. But if you're curious, let me take a few minutes and explain to you how it works. And if you're already in solo role-playing and you want to explain the concepts or introduce it to a friend, hey, share this video with them. But first, just to make sure we're on the same page, today I'm not going to be talking about journaling RPGs or choose your own adventure books. Those are different things. I'm talking about playing a D&D style game. So let's get started. So in your traditional role-playing games, you have a game master and you have players. The game master narrates the scene, the situation, explains details. Players then ask the game master questions to clarify, and then when they feel ready, they narrate what their characters do, and sometimes dice get rolled in. So the biggest difference when you play a solo role-playing game as opposed to a traditional role-playing game is that you as the player are acting in the role of both player and game master together. During play, you'll either be using pre-written resources or you'll be creating the world and situations as you go. Well, in the role of the GM, you'll set up situations, and then in the role of the player, you'll ask questions and you'll choose how you're going to respond and react to those situations in a way that drives the story forward where you're playing to see what happens. Now, I know that this sounds like it might be a little bit jarring, and in the beginning, it can be a little bit if you're not used to it. However, I found that over multiple times of playing and trying, it's become much more easy to jump between these two roles. But wait, maybe you're thinking, how am I supposed to know where my character is? Who they're talking to? What they're supposed to be doing? Am I just making it all up as I go? Well, the answer to that is no. Most of the time you won't be, because when you solo roleplay, you're usually using a couple of different tools to assist you. The first of these tools that's specific to solo play is called an oracle, or sometimes a game master emulator. It's what you're going to use to ask questions about the world. So the most basic version of an oracle is rolling just a standard 6-sided die, and on a 1, 2, or 3, the answer is no. On a 4, 5, or 6, the answer is a yes. You ask the oracle a yes or no question, and then you roll the die. Something happened to my hero when they leave the village. Yes. Is there a monster in the first room of the dungeon? No. And usually, there's a little bit more to it than that. A lot of the time you'll see oracle questions come with extra words in the responses. Mostly yes and or no but. And what that means is that it's up to you taking the role as the GM to interpret the meaning of that in the answer. Does my character find the bandits that attacked the village? No, but they find the trail of the bandits and it leads them into the woods. Does my character find out who's leading the bandits? Yes, and it happens to be somebody that he's had a run-in with before. Now, maybe you're thinking, what about questions that are not yes or no questions? What if I need to get details of the world? What if I need to get details about a certain NPC or their motivations? These are what we call open-ended questions. And the next type of tool that's used often in solo roleplay are called oracle tables for open-ended questions. These look a lot like your traditional random tables in role-playing games, except they'll entail a lot of seemingly disconnected words that are designed to evoke a feeling or a meaning, especially when they are connected together with another word. So usually, when you have an open-ended question, you'll ask it, and then you roll on probably 2 oracle tables, and you'll get 2 different words. Why did the bandits attack the village? Rolling, we get the words overwhelm and knowledge. And we take those 2 together, and we interpret what that means. Maybe they were trying to get information from somebody. Maybe somebody in the village knows something that they shouldn't. So this process of taking 2 seemingly unconnected things and making a connection and interpreting it is, in my opinion, the heart of solo roleplay. It is one of the coolest and most unique parts of solo roleplay. So it does take some getting used to. But the cool thing is, when we do get used to it, our brains can do some amazing things. And you'll see that the story has twists and turns you never would have thought of when you're playing all on your own. In fact, sometimes it feels like the story can even take on a life of its own. But wait, maybe you're thinking, okay, I get that you can ask lots of questions like that. Yes, no questions, open-ended questions, use oracles. Wouldn't that get a little monotonous if that's all you're doing through the whole game, just to get details for every single thing by asking questions? Well, that's just the thing. You don't have to get every little detail this way. You see, usually when solo role-playing, you'll also use other random table generation tools. So if you're playing a game like D&D, you're going to have random generation tools for monsters, dungeons, wilderness travel, towns, NPCs, anything that you're likely to find, you're probably going to have a table for. Usually these are called GM toolkits. They're the same things that game masters and dungeon masters use to build worlds. So maybe your next question is, well, what about when I do come up with something while solo roleplay? And that's just it. While you're solo roleplaying, you're going to have all these tools for random generation, asking questions, but from time to time, you're still going to get these sparks of inspiration, these little moments of, oh, you know what? It would be really cool if this happened. And my advice to you is that when that happens, you go with it. I repeat, anytime this happens during solo roleplay, you go with it. You see, you only have yourself to please. If you follow these inklings or ideas, they're going to unlock your creativity and lead you down a path that leads to a very satisfying and memorable adventure. Oh, it would be really cool if the leader of the group of thieves turned out to be an old rival of my heroes. Go with it. Ooh, what if the thieves in the forest thought that they were just in a normal cave, but it turned out to be a secret entrance to a much larger underground dungeon? Go with it. So those are some of the basic differences about how solo role-playing works and how it differs from traditional RPGs. Honestly, there's so much more that I could talk about and tell you, but I wanted to keep this video as short and sweet as I can. In the next video, I'll explain how to get started solo role-playing and a few introductory systems or systems that are a good fit if you're interested in learning more.